Hey, how's it going? It's a little bit shaky here. I want to read you some cards, and dang it, I'm just going to have to unplug this thing. Hi, read my palm. There's my signs. I would like you to look at them. Okay. Thanks for that. Oh, you don't need to know about that. Anyway. Alright, this is take 2. It was going so good, and then I got interrupted, and I wish I could make my phone stay paused if I go off of the tab, but it does not do that. So I had to make a few attitude adjustments. I wasn't happy at being interrupted. I mean, I felt like it was going pretty good. I was like, why this? All of the words that no one... Yeah. I was not happy. And what the hell did I do with that other card? Was there another card? I thought there was. This... Oh, there it is. Okay. How did it not fall out? All right, so, okay, really, for real this time, I'm starting. What is, oh, it's that. Okay, so, I started with the cards before, but I'm going to do it in the opposite order now. No, I'm not, because that actually went pretty good. So, I pulled one card from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. Get a look at that without light problems, if possible. And it's number 2, the card that I pulled. 1, 1, 11. And the subtitle, it's Beloved, Flaming Heart. Ooh, Flaming Heart in a, it's in some kind of bubble. What's that? What is that? Is it in a, like a bubble? Is there a circle around it? Or what is that? Is like a shooting star coming out of, what's happening? Oh no. It seems to be something, the fire on the heart, like, blew up and it flew off. You know, like if you've ever seen a roaring log fire. Sometimes there'll be a piece of pitch or something that'll burn really hot and sort of explode. Will you stop it, please? I'm trying to work here. That's what that is. So, yeah, I guess it's just floating in black. I don't want to get all into that right now. We're talking about something else. So, anyway, the card is Beloved. And the subtitle is Radical Acceptance. And so I did pull another card, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So, as usual, I pulled cards earlier, you know, if possible. And actually, right now, shoot, now I gotta see what time it is this time. It is, give me a second, I'll be right. I'm not actually going away, so I think it says 8:42 p.m. and I pulled this card at 5 a.m. So I just like, I enjoy seeing what happens throughout the day that the card will possibly pertain to. So among other things, I watched this video, which I will link. I don't remember the name of it, and when I was just interrupted and could have looked, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just thinking about getting back to hurrying up and starting over. So I'm going to link it. But the thing about the video is it was really extensive, but the thing that caught me on it, the title, what snagged me is what I'm trying to say, was something about if you don't have friends, it's because of this, or words to that effect. So yeah, I mean, I don't have any friends. I do have friends. I have lots of friends, but just not any near proximity. So you can't easily hug them or, bounce stuff off of them. And I mean, people are more than, and I was going to say more than a state away, they can't move. And then I was like, if they're more than an hour away, you're probably not going to see them. Even a half hour. It's true. Or at least it has been my experience. I might as well be on the moon. So anyway, I was like, okay, in all seriousness though, it wasn't talking about like there being something wrong with you or something that you don't have friends. Let me just talk about it. So, actually the friends and not having friends part is not at all even what I want to talk about. So I'm not gonna, but I will link it so that if you want to know what that's about, you can go ahead and look at the video yourself. The part of the video that I do want to talk about though is healing, and a particular kind of healing that we can kind of affect upon ourselves. And it just, to get to the direct point of what I want to say is, the narrator was talking about the medical community becoming aware that we can communicate with our bodies, specifically to ourselves, in a particular way to heal ourselves. And like I said, it's a long video and it goes into a lot of stuff. They focus on something that I talk about a lot, and I might have even been the last video I did. I was talking about the experiment that had happened recently, like within the past decade, where it was discovered that some quantum function didn't start happening until we observed it. So it's like it took a consciousness to engage with this process for it to begin. And I had questions about how do we know what was happening before we looked at it when it started moving, but that's for another scientific article and another day and a scientist, not me. I'll probably come across it at some point. But the experiment, I was like, I don't know how to look it up. I don't know the name of it. And then like today, 1 or 2 days later, it was all this video, and it conveniently provided me the name of the experiment and also talks about it. It is called the double slit experiment. So that's in that video. Man, this fly is really, I mean, there are like 2 pieces of candy sitting right in front of me, and this fly is dive bombing me. What do you want? I'm clean. I had a shower. Look at my hair. You can tell it looks all kooky. It's because I took a shower earlier and then sat down and fell asleep. And I was wearing this other hoodie that was like thicker and fluffier. And so it pushed my hair up into a bob. And so in like another 6 hours, my hair is going to have magically gained another 1.25 inches. It takes that long for my fine hair to dry. I don't know what the hell is taking so long. It's so skinny. What is the issue? Sorry. Let's get control of ourselves here. Ourself. There's more than me in here? Are you being affected by... Whoa, my pronouns are whacked out. Anyway, in the video, they talk about healing and how there's like a quantum aspect to it when we talk to ourselves, talk to our bodies. And they were talking about a specific ailment and a situation where it was actually an illustration of what not to do, which is a good thing to know given what he said. So he talked about focusing on a cell and giving it an instruction, and the instruction was to grow. And so, just like with any kind of manifestation, you want to be really specific, because what ends up happening in the illustration, the animation, was that the cell had been instructed to grow, but then it wasn't instructed to, like, how much it was supposed to grow or when it was supposed to stop. So it just all kept growing, and the interior exceeded the exterior, and it exploded out. And that caused a reaction in the agents, I guess anti-infection agents in the liquid surrounding the cell to come attack all the stuff coming out, because it started to, like, cause cancer or something. I believe that's what they said. And so that in turn, the stuff around the cell that exploded alerted white cells, and then that came and they showed that taking over. Like, it's a whole thing. My point is that this is something that is theoretical. He does specify, like, he makes it, like, underlines it, that it's theoretical. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, yeah, but this is not the first time I've heard of this. I'll tell you what that was. Probably 2-3 years ago now, I was listening to a Cryon channel, a channel of Cryon, and in it he was talking about the fact that we get old and we get sickly, and it doesn't have to be that way. We actually have, like, some we have, like, more autonomy and power over our bodies than we realize, because we've been conditioned to think certain things about health and healing. And, you know, it's wacko and cuckoo to think that, you know, homeopathic medicine would work, because the mechanism for that is that it's to awaken and excite something that's already in your body, that's there to react to a specific, like, illness or something like that. So that's not as good to the pharma medical capitalism community that just wants to, like, we'll just make stuff for you to take, and then that's what you'll be, like, you'll have to take it. You'll be dependent on it. That's what they tell us. And then they can charge us a bunch of money, and also it can make us sick, kill us, possibly do other things too. And that's like a whole other marketing thing. It's like, oh, it can also work on this illness. Well, shoot, that's more money in the old offshore bank account. So they don't want to stop that money stream. So anything other than that they want it to look sus. They make it sound and look sus. They do, and it works on us because we don't know. But for all of the tree-hugging, vegetarian, vegan, woo-woo, Wiccans, and all of those people that get looked down on are not going to look so silly in the dang near future. That's even happening now. Like, people are waking up to the idea that, like, whoa, there's more going on here with this, like, healthy life and not eating the animals and stuff like that. And the reason why a lot of people, I think, get on that track is because it's a step toward helping your senses, to open up your, like, all of your senses that we don't have. Like, yes, psychic stuff, but there's so much more. Okay, so, and this is what Cryon was saying. in the specific part, he was talking about the aging and how we used to live a lot longer. Like, for instance, the story of Methuselah, this person in the Bible that lived over 100 years. I know that much. I don't remember the specific age, but it was much longer than I or even my grandparents' lifetimes people lived. Like, we haven't been living as long as we have the potential to for, gosh, a really long time. Thousands of years. So, what Cryon talks about is that our cells are just on a programmed course to age. They don't have to. They can be changed, and it doesn't take CRISPR, evidently, although it probably takes like not smoking and drinking and not taking drugs and not eating like meat or meat products at all and being vegan and maybe not even cooking your food, although I think for humans it's better to cook like some stuff just for the sake of digestion, but to make your body as clear and clean of all of the pollutants and preservatives that do exist in the food and water that we have to consume, unless we, alter it, like filter the water, or get it from a underground source that is not polluted, and prepare your own food so that you don't have like all the production shortcuts and weird stuff in it. And there's a lot to do, and there's other steps too. You have to get your mind in a certain state, and your heart and your vibration. So it's not like you can just decide, well, I'm just going to do this today. But you can communicate with your cells. You can like speak to your body, and earlier when I was doing this, I said, we can affect our cells' health, affect our health by speaking to ourselves. And now I can't remember the exact sentence, but I kept referring to like my own body as it. And that's a thing, or one of the things I believe that Cryon was trying to get across, is that your body is not this separate thing. It's not an it that you're outside of. And it doesn't take you stubbing your toe, or it shouldn't, for you to realize that, oh, that extremity is also a part of me. I'm not really aware of it most times, unless I'm putting on a shoe and sock or some other foot-related thing. But generally, it's not on your mind. So, same with ourselves. And even worse, we were like, oh, we can do that. I didn't know we could talk to them. But what he was saying is that they take it very literal, so you have to specify exactly what you mean, including grow, stop growing at this time. That's enough growing. Do not exceed your boundaries where you exist. And but also, there's like you might watch a lot of YouTube and see a lot of videos that tell you to be gentle with yourself when you're affecting self-care upon yourself. And your cells is yourself. So I mean I don't know how to translate that into a viewer like using it for yourself. That's something you may have to figure out how to translate on your own. I am still trying to figure it out myself. I've been talking to myself for a while to affect a certain physical area, and it really hasn't. I'm not giving up. I just haven't figured out that frequency to align with that particular function, so I can get it to change. And Cryon refers to it as, rather than having your cells be programmed to age, you program them to youth. And so I'm always looking for the way to get through to my cells and get them to understand, stop aging. You can youth now. And the way he talks about it, you can like reverse the process, including like your hair. Although I know, like, if you have grays, I had seen this like watching television, and I know that there's like all kinds of lag time between when a series is filmed and then it's like processed however it needs to be processed and then released to the public, and could be like months, or I don't know. It seems like on Law and Order they can do it in weeks. But if you watch a show for like years, like Law and Order, you may notice that people will get like gray in their hair, and then it'll come and go, and I'm always like, is it dyed? Did they have another project? And then I learned somewhere along the way here that your body will change that color depending on various, I don't know what. Honestly, I have no idea what controls that. Some kind of mood thing. I would assume a hormone is involved, or several. Hold on a second. You can speak to your own body and redirect the course of your health. And if you learn how to do it, you can fine tune it even. So here's spirit and science like agreeing, even though science is like, this is theoretical. Spirit's like, no, man, it's real. You can just do it. You've always been able to. You just got to unlock your memory to figure out how. And I already thought this, but then today I thought it again, because if you've read Dune, then you'll know that there are, I can't remember the name of them, something sisters, and they have some pretty fascinating abilities, and one of which is to, like, if one of the main characters drinks something that would be poisonous normally, but she has instructed her body to be able to detect a poison and change its chemical structure so that it is not poisonous and will not affect her body. And here's something else I learned, and I think it was Cryon that was talking about it, where he was saying that there was a time when humans could walk out in the world and like go up to a plant and be able to sense whether or not it was poisonous to consume or not, to understand from just proximity, I guess, to be able to communicate with the plant vibrationally, I guess, to know even what the plant's components might be good for in a healing sense. So that combined with the Benny Gesserit, that's it. Sorry, Fairly Odd Parents. Sorry, I always do that wrong. Screw it. That's how I do it. Screw it, that's how I do it. Okay, sorry. No, I'm not. Don't get lost. Oh, yes. So, that's three sources right there saying this is something that we can do. And that's kind of how the spiritual information comes. Like, they'll throw all the spaghetti at the wall trying to get our attention. That's three ways I personally have been affirmed to the idea that, man, I got to get in touch with my body better. Because I could, like, I would like to be able to eat all the candy I want and not have to worry about this or my waist built-in life preserver. And you know there's people out there that do it. They eat all kinds of crap and they have the body that everyone's all, I wish I could eat everything. You're so, like, yeah, that would be nice. I'm not, it would just be like health-wise good to not be lugging around a bunch of fat, let's face it. So, I mean, that's a motivation. And then there's that other thing that I would like to get to the bottom of and adjust, you know, because the problem with it is that I've gotten older and it's doing what every other person of my gender, of my age, can expect it to do. I want to put a stop to it, and I want to use my whole body back to when I was like 11. But I like to keep my mind on the same mental level, thank you. You know, and like integrate the 11-year-old, which is still there. Not really that far away. But physically, I want that again. And that's kind of what I've been trying to accomplish with trying to talk to my cells. But, you know, you gotta fail and fail and fail until you get it. So, here's where it kind of comes back to the card, though, because thinking about the cells and being able to talk to them, the note I wrote was the cells plus comms, communication, equals health. So, like, if we could talk to ourselves and say, listen, diabetes, that's a no-go. Let's, like, move everything around in those little cellular whatevers and restructure it so diabetes is no. Like, let's poop it out. Like, however you get rid of it. And so I thought, because of a bunch of other stuff I watched, like, oh my gosh, we're so distrustful of each other anymore. And we think the same things about each other. I will watch these shows where, like, people will go to a Trump rally and they'll talk to them, and sometimes they'll be trolling them, and I don't really care for those as much because I just am like, at some point, one of them's going to figure it out and start a fight with you, and I don't want to see that. So, but anyway, they will go and talk to them, and they will highlight on the video, like, they believe this, that seems, also to me, a lot of times, I will agree, that seems crazy, but at other times, I'll understand where they're coming from with it. Like, they might have heard something, like I was just talking about the cells, but not be able to articulate, like, the vaccine thing. Like, that's what they were probably trying to talk about, was like, you could tell your cellular structure to readjust the illness that they didn't want to take a vaccine for, so that it didn't affect you. And Cryon talks about that too, but he also says, hey, you know, some people are going to take the vaccine, some people aren't. He did not say some people are going to be able to adjust their cells and be immune from it. Like, I didn't hear about that immune person, I don't think, ever. So, and what is immune anyway? Is immune someone that somehow knows how to adjust their cells? We can do it sometimes with some things. They even cited an example, which of course escapes me now, but again, I will post a link to that video, and if I remember, I'll fairly godparents it out. So those are the times when I think, okay, I understand this crazy, like, I understand where it's coming from. But again, if you've lived a life of eating fast food and meat, and you smoked and you drank and took drugs, or just lived in a place that, like a Camp Lejeune or a Love Canal, or you were in the service, I mean, nuclear testing was done all over the world. And when the stuff got blown up into the air, the U.S. was not the only country that did the testing. So all of the little literal hotspots around the world where they've done this testing, whatever escaped up in the air got into the atmosphere and moved around wherever the atmosphere was going over the years, and that byproduct lives along, and it's all over in everything. So that's one kind of pollutant we just kind of live with. And there's runoff from all of our factories with all of our, you know, weird stuff for our products that's not, you know, just unmolested, natural from the earth. The little plastic ballies that are in everything. All the medicine we pee out that our body doesn't use, so that's just unused, all kinds of medicine that, you know, the water gets filtered in that, but I mean, not all of it everywhere. And what about the animals that take the medicine? They're not peeing into toilets. They're just going wherever. So if it's on the ground, it's going in the groundwater or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to think that you could just, like, have lived this whole life and be all, I am not going to get that disease, because I don't believe in the vaccine and I don't believe it's real. I'm like, you might have to adjust your thinking on that a little bit and like put in some work and some effort, because like almost nothing comes easy and free and ready made, including healthing. So that, and then the second thought was, in society, we that are aware of it can be the cells with orders to health. So as in me trying to get my body to youth and start reversing the process of aging, maybe those of us who are, I don't know, just want to be the cells in society to health. So I guess like not participate in trolling people and name calling and being like mean. And I'm not saying like I'm not a saint. I can't always like be magnanimous and not get pissed off by stuff or by people, but you know, we do our best, we try, and we learn, you know, we make a new pattern to follow, a new conditioning, because you know, you may have heard the term giving away our power. Well, one way may have been of letting the conditioning just completely override the fact that we have this like internal ability if we can figure it out to heal ourselves. But we have to add more effort than just being all, okay, cells, make me skinny. Like, it doesn't work like that. And then what if your cells listen and they just turned you like into, you just couldn't retain any like nourishment and you just turned into a skeleton with skin? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be specific. Ow! Well, I don't want the fly on the rim of my drink. So I don't know who I'm mad at. So will you stop swarming me? You can't have some. Sweet Mo will probably kill you anyway. So anyway, and I just thought of that because I looked at this and I think of, well, I mean, it's Thanksgiving in what, like 2-3 days or something like that. Have fun. It's gonna be Thursday for me. No friends. But people will be with friends and family, and subjects will come up that may come up. Some people relish the arguing though, so some places they will come up and it'll be political and it'll be, you know, disagreeing about this side says this and that. But really, when you watch those shows I was talking about, they literally are saying the same things about each other. Like one side says it and another side says it about the other side. But the thing is that beliefs aside, they're so dang similar, you know? And all of it, like, we're all carrying a torch for these other people, and it's like, I feel like when no one is really paying attention to the damage we're doing to each other, when we really, like, we don't have to. We don't have to participate in groups whose whole aim is to, like, hate on some other groups. Because I often say you probably have stuff you're neglecting at home when you're out doing this, or, you know, just spending time dwelling on it and talking about it with people. And I don't know, like, I don't want to make that my life. I would rather make my life everyone being, to quote a friend of mine, nice and friendly. So that you can't just be nice and friendly, cell person. You have to develop relationships with people, and you have to be open and open-minded. And also, when you see that you're offending someone, If you don't want to offend them, stop doing it. It ain't that hard. I mean, you don't have to. There's so much in the world to talk about other than the things that we can argue about and find fault with in each other. So the holiday that's coming up, I'm not going to name it, but I will call it spending time with friends and family and feasting together. And really, what it boils down to anymore, historical stuff aside, is that. So why not make it enjoyable for each other, you know? I mean, enjoy the time you get to spend with each other. Be glad that you have friends and family to spend that day with, you know? And then the next day, on Indigenous Peoples Day, then you can think about that other stuff. Although, I don't know how many Indigenous people are observing it as a holiday as such. I would love to hear their viewpoint on it, because I would also like to know how they're celebrating it. You know what? I'm just gonna have to look at that. I'm not even. Well, I better make a note, because I'm a space case. Watch. What the heck am I on? A match. Get off my cutting board. Watch. Indigenous. That's spelled wrong. What is it? Indigenous Peoples Day? Peoples. That's not the right letter. Day. Coverage. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I saw it on the calendar this year for the first time. So I don't know. Like, are there going to be parades? Are there going to be powwows? Powwows always make me start crying involuntarily. I don't know what that's about. I just started watching them like 5 years ago on YouTube, and I'm sitting there going, oh, wow, this is cool, because I don't know, you may not know this about me, but I like drums and drumming. And, come on. Well, I can't put that there. It'll fall down in between. Hooray! So yeah, I don't know if there's gonna what there's gonna be, but oh yeah, so powwows. I started watching it, and all of a sudden I'm just like, why are tears streaming down my whole face? And I wanted to sob, and I was like, what the hell is happening? It's actually happened once before. I think I've talked about this. I know I have in other videos, so I'm not gonna like trouble you with hearing that all again. I would like to go to one with someone so that at least I wouldn't just be this person sitting there crying by themselves. Like, what is this stray doing here? Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, right. Getting together with your loved ones or the friends that you really like and engaging in radical acceptance. And I mean, if you can have the argument and have the radical acceptance and not be at each other's throat, well, dang, do that. Show everybody else out. Because I think there's an issue we have with that. Like, we all just kind of want to argue, you know, and I feel like I don't want to get a chip on my shoulder about this stuff. It's not even really my stuff, you know? Like anyway. So I did pull another card to just completely change the subject from the animals, or the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Guide. Can you read that? There you go. Ow! Oh, that's gonna leave a mark. I'm showing you that so you can see the artist's name, because I think she does great work. And the card goes, does everything have to topple? Would you please not? The card I pulled was Black Egg. And in this deck, the circle indicates it's a spirit card. So get a look at that. The black Fabergé egg with its... Well, you know, it's interesting. I'm sure she could draw a sparkle if she wanted to. But it seems like it's encased in some sort of netting, like a... one of those Asian pear apple things. I don't know if they put all of their fruit in those little styrofoam nets, but I think it's for shipping. I don't know. Anyway, that's what those come in. Those are good fruit, by the way. But it makes me kind of think of, like, it has like a diamondy net, N-E-T, covering it for some reason. I am going to read from the book. Black Egg, speaking from an authentic voice. The truth. The egg contains one of life's essential treasures, the truth. Inside of it resides no confusion, excuses, small talk, noise, or lies, not even white ones. This living and breathing vessel harbors only that which rings true. When this essence is in balance, we speak slowly and clearly. We are drawn to activities like writing, reading, teaching, singing, or perhaps public speaking. Sounds draw us in. Books draw us in. The concept of truth itself draws us in. We start asking questions like, what do I know to be true about myself? And what is true about the world? When the energy of the black egg is not yet accessed, we speak from an unsure place. When the energy of the black egg is not yet accessed, we speak from an unsure place. We say things others want to hear, gossip, or repeat stories to justify our subpar behavior. The people talking about the other people kind of negging on what they believe. Both ways. I'm not like picking a favorite here. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's feeling kind of superior. Nobody's really doing anything with their superiority to make things better for everyone. They're just kind of taking a side, and the world and people are bigger and wider than sides. So get together with friends and family day. Say your truth if you want to say your truth. I mean, I don't know how the squares are going to be laid out at every gathering. That's going to be up to the individual. I'm going to come back to that. But we say things others want to hear, gossip, or repeat stories to justify our subpar behavior. So the subpar behavior, the subpar part, she says that. I'm not saying that. But I am saying, or I did say, you know, we say stuff, and the side that I'm more inclined to always is going to look at the other side, the mega side, and there are videos where they highlight this, and yes, they can be edited, but sometimes they don't need to edit them. Like, sometimes what you're looking at is really what happened, and they will focus on how they'll just quote slogans and not be able to justify, verify, specify what exactly they're talking about. Like Joe Biden, or the laptop, what's the boy's name? Hunter Biden laptop. What about it? You know, it's bad. It's evil. Joe Biden. What about him? He's a criminal. He's, taking money from the Chinese. Well, maybe the Chinese owe us money. What are we talking about? What kind of transaction are we talking about? They don't have the answer to that. And so that you'll see coming from like the left, but I don't really see the people from the right asking them to back up what they're saying. So that just occurred to me. That's interesting. But maybe, like, do we just want to be fighting with each other? Like, are we just showing up at these places to be all, I'm right and you're all the stuff that I have to say isn't right? Like, both sides are doing it. So I just, like, maybe that's why I don't participate in stuff like that, because I kind of feel like neither side should be any of the other one's face this way. We could be the good selves and do the things that would make the changes we'd like to see to help the society, instead of creating these pernicious cells of anger and hatred and separation and otherness and all that other stuff that they tend to brew up and they come there with, and then it gets worse because the combination of the two groups getting together just gets the other sides all fired up. And again, does anybody have any solutions? So you just came to fight. I'm just trying to offer an alternative and say that there are ways, and probably a year or two ago I was fussing and fighting about this, like, I'm just mad that things have to be done incrementally. But unfortunately, when you try to force things, you end up with a January 6th, and that didn't work out that well for those people. And it's still unfolding because there are laws. Like, there are still laws. We still have that. We're not going to just change it. Like, everybody else doesn't want to just change it like that. People want changes, but maybe not that way. Like I always said, I would like to see a bloodless coup. January 6th, there was like blood. There was death. There was injury. There was trauma. There was PTSD. There still is. I don't want to do it. That is not the way I want to do it. We're not stupid. Even the ones we think of each other as stupid, like we all are like alive and have jobs and raise families, so how stupid can we be? We need to start seeing the good stuff in each other. This is my opinion, but I feel like getting along is better than fighting and hating and killing and dying. What is wrong with that? So, and the left does have their slogans, they do. I already told you I'm more inclined to lean to the left, but I'm not like all totally famous on all of it. So we might even try to convince ourselves that we have no inner truth at all. That's not what I'm saying. I got some. Mine is, can't we all get along? The energy of the black egg hovers. Well, every time I say that, it's different. Hovers and waits for us to reconnect. I'm trying to get to the next page here. Hold on. It is available at every moment in every situation. The truth is the epicenter of truth, the birthplace of our voice. Truth vibrating out. Grab a ring. Oh, there's more. The black egg and the fifth chakra. The subtle essence of this card resides at the base of the throat, in the Vishuddha chakra. The ancient sages saw this center as the hub that governs our speech and expression. Vishuddha translates as especially pure. The balance of this center is important for all of us, but is especially essential for writers, editors, musicians, and teachers. Wowie. So this egg holds truth inside of it. No wonder it's radiating that whiter than white light. Are you playing with a kibble? You crazy? He is playing with a kibble. What a good boy. Oh, am I done? So, truth also comes up a lot in my videos, and when I say truth, well, I used to think that truth just was one thing, but it really isn't, because every individual can have their own perception, which I think is equal to what our truth is. So you can't say that there's only one truth. That just wouldn't be true, in my opinion. So I think to avoid confusion, with all of us, and this is hard, okay? I'm not saying that I'm all good at it at all. I'm constantly having to catch myself like, you don't need to embellish, just say it. And it's hard because the embellishing comes so naturally, and it's not just me. Like, when I was talking about, like, a little kid, like, a couple of videos ago, like, really little, like, no one came along and instructed a child to lie about, like, eating some sort of, like, food that stained your face. So when you're asked, did you eat the food, with the child hand grabs out of it, like if it was a pie, or the bite of a child, you know, that's, an adult's gonna know this stuff, but the kid's gonna be like, they'll never know. And then meanwhile, you got, like, pie all over your face, or chocolate brownie, or whatever it is, and it's like, no one probably told them to go to, when they got caught, say, I didn't do it, you know, but instinct. So, like, it comes really easy, and it takes that same kind of work, I think, to, like, learn how to talk to yourself, or learn how to ride a bike, or quit smoking cigarettes. Like, it all is a process. And so the truth is, we have a lot of reasons, I would think. I mean, just personally, I can think of a lot of reasons to throw up blocks and, you know, boundaries between the truth and between me and my truth and other people, because maybe it's hard to share what the truth is, or, you know, like, you know, if you say how you really feel to someone, they're not going to take it well, but they ask. So, I mean, for me, I want to tell them, and then when you do, it's like, sometimes it doesn't go that great, and no friends. Thank you, and good night.